we make pocket knives. That's our flagship product. So this is the Rask. We also make another one called the Norseman, and then we make a pen as well. Very high precision writing instrument. What we're known for is our detail and tolerances and absolute precision and relentless pursuit of perfection in everything we do, whether it's the way that shines or the chamfer is a 2thou chamfer, not a 5thou chamfer, etc., etc. We make every single part ourselves, and it's got to be perfect or else it doesn't ship. And this mentality has let us grow the business to be something pretty powerful.
Today we are here at GRIMSMO Knives with my buddy John Grimsmo. Now, we're going to talk real quickly about the history because the growth has been fascinating, starting in a garage in 2011. But we're going to take you on a tour of his shop and what he's working on now. Now the growth has happened, he's moved into the new building. So John, A, thank you for being here. B, I'm excited to showcase what you have going on with the MTD audience.
Yeah, we're happy to have you guys here. I mean, we started this in my garage in 2011 with a tiny little home-built CNC machine, and then through sheer determination and good luck and good fortune and pushing out YouTube videos, which is what this is, we were able to grow, get our first small shop, buy this DMG Mori Vertical, which was our first like big boy machine. You know, it's huge money, like over $100,000, huge risk, huge investment, moving out of the garage into the shop. And now this is our least cool machine. You know what I mean?
And it's still very cool.
It's still like a legendary machine, but now it's just kind of like, oh yeah, that's the first one. It runs every single day. It makes our Norseman knives, and it's been absolutely rock solid. This is one of our 2 machines that have never had any problems. It is an absolute tank.
Yeah, that's impressive.
And they don't make it anymore, which sucks.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, once DMG and Mori, they merged together, they changed it into a DMG-ified version of this. This is like the legit Japanese version, and then they stopped making it.
So, but this was your first big boy purchase. Now,
yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong, John, and we're going to take a walk and see a lot of these other machines and what you have going on, but you're actually self-taught as well. So when you said the courage that it takes to invest in a 6-figure machine,
yep.
There's a lot involved in that, because I know a part of this tour, you want to convey to the entrepreneurs out there, you can do it too, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, if you got the chops for it, if you have the determination and the knowledge and the skill, all the information's out there, that's not the issue anymore. Now it's like, are you up for it? Are you up for the challenge? All the late nights, all the struggles, all the broken tools, all the like, I can't take this anymore. That's what it takes.
It is what it takes, and that's courage.
I have such passion for this industry that like, I'll do it. I'll do it forever.
Well, you're creative enough as well.
Yeah, and now we've built up a team. We've got 12 people. You know, it started out with just me, and then just me and my brother, and then slowly, like, do we hire our first person? And then now 12 people, we're like freight train now. You hire some really smart, really talented people, give them good work, give them trust, let them go, help them grow, and then good things happen.
Yeah, well, as famous as you are, John, let's pretend for a second there's 1 or 2 people out there that don't know what you're making and what you're doing. Let's talk about that.
Real quick, we make pocket knives. That's our flagship product. So this is the Rask. We also make another one called the Norseman, and then we make a pen as well. Very high precision writing instrument. What we're known for is our detail and tolerances and absolute precision and relentless pursuit of perfection in everything we do, whether it's the way that shines or the chamfer is a 2thou chamfer, not a 5thou chamfer, etc., etc. We make every single part ourselves, and it's got to be perfect or else it doesn't ship. And this mentality has let us grow the business to be something pretty powerful and cool and, you know, helpful for other people, because it shows them the stand. Like, I want to be the standard, you know?
I like that. And also, when I was getting a tour around here earlier, you actually needed a clickable noise. That's how precise you guys want to be when you're creating everything here, but it had to be a clickable, profound sound,
and
right?
like here in the shop, it's kind of loud. When we're putting them together, we actually go upstairs to our shipping guy, Ryan, who's like, nope, not good enough. He sends it back.
Just based on the noise.
Yep, and like the surface finish of where there's 3 ceramic ball bearings in here, the surface finish has to be about 1.5 RA, really, really shiny, for those balls not to scratch.
That's impressive.
And that's what we do.
So let's start taking a walk, John. I see a 7-figure machine. Oh, we can get those clicks. We can get those clicks. So I see a 7-figure machine, but I see a bunch of machines over here. Depending on which direction you want to go is where we can navigate this conversation. But also, as we segue, no one is coming, it's up to us. That's another piece of your motto here.
Sort of, yeah. That's not our sign, actually. We bought that just recently, but one of our guys, Angelo, has been saying that to us for over a year now. And it's like, it's just such a mentality to be like, we can do this, we can handle this, no one's coming to save us, sort of a special forces, you know, nod. And everything, you know, whether the coolant spills all over the ground, like no one's coming to save you. You got to clean that up. Like we got to do this.
Right.
Get on your hands and knees. Let's do this. I'll come with you. And it gives you that like entrepreneurship kind of vibe to like, we can do this. You don't need a super education to do this. Like, figure it out. We can do this. Let's talk about the elephant in the room here.
I was just about to say, we could save this for last, so we could go to it now, because you're speaking about entrepreneurism. I'd love to bring up the good idea group. Like that good idea that you have going on. That's how you continue to, there's so many creative people here. We're standing in front of this kern. We're just started as your first big boy purchase on a DMG Mori. That's not everyone's first purchase. As I look back across the room, I see Tornos, I see Nakamura Tome, I see an invention you created all on your own that integrated
there's many of those.
in-house, right? So what is this good idea group that you have going on also?
Just came a couple months ago. Angelo and I were brainstorming, like, how do we get our staff to learn new skills without putting them on really critical, like, our parts have to be perfect, you're not there yet.
Right.
But how do we design some products where the staff basically take it and run, and I'm totally out of it? And so Angelo came up with this good idea club where the team is like this little offshoot on the side after hours, like, let's design some stuff and let's make it. So we haven't done it yet, but we're working on it. Basically just to allow the guys to have some freedom and to use some of the equipment and learn how to design parts, learn how to machine parts without the stress of daily production, them having to be perfect, having to meet my standards, blah, blah, blah. And it lets them grow and play and, you know, without the worry.
Yeah, John, I wanted to bring that up because to me, coming from a machine shop environment where I at times felt stagnant, where as brilliant as I might be on the one product, it's the one product over and over again. So I wanted to bring that up for the audience, first of all. But secondly, just in case you decide to go the route, as you said you've not started it yet, if the audience out there loves your knives and pens already, there might be some really cool limited edition stuff coming out that John will be coming up with as well, or his group will be coming up with.
Yeah, I'm not touching it. But yeah, basically cool ideas that the team wants to make, let's make them. Let's make 50, let's make 100. Let's sell them under the brand because they'll be, it's like an offshoot. It's like a skunk works, you know, prototype development kind of.
Yeah.
Maybe it's good enough to work into production. I get my fingers in there, I add the chamfers and the make it perfect and everything, but the point is not to make them perfect. The point is to get them out the door and like learn.
Right.
And build these skills, because we're kind of finding it hard. Everybody's got their head down, everybody's got their focus. How does that guy learn this when there's no time? We're slammed, you know?
Yeah. I like that a lot, and I like the dance moves that came with that whole situation as well.
I get animated like you, you know?
We're animated people, which is why this video is going to be watched so much now. Now let's talk about this beautiful red elephant in the room. Pallet change system, high RPM, I'm sure, high precision and accuracy, which Kern is known for.
Yes.
This is your most recent purchase, and even though that DMG Mori being your first big boy purchase was a courageous act, I can imagine that something like this might also be in that same boat.
Oh, this is almost 10 times more expensive than the DMG Mori. So going from, you know, that big boy purchase to now we're like the man purchase, you know? And it's actually not our most recent purchase. We've purchased like 5 other machines since this, but it's certainly our biggest and will probably remain our biggest until we buy a second one.
What, John, just standing in front of the machine, the camera's looking at the product right now, what inspired you to go for this Kern machine? What inspired you to say, this is the one for me?
So going from a 3-axis vertical, learning more about pallet changing systems and 0-point and 4-axis, 5-axis and horizontals, and I researched, you know, I'm super nerd about all this, so I researched everything. I know about Groves and Hermeleys and all the different ones out there, and I have friends buying different equipment, so I'm pretty well versed as to what's out there. And I watch a lot of MTD videos. When you're looking at the Matsuura LX, you know, whatever, LX160, there's videos from you guys about that, so that's super helpful. In the end, my criteria were, we don't do hogging, so we don't need a high horsepower. We do a lot of tiny tools, we need high RPM. I want a pallet changer, I want small pallets. I don't need these big like MAM 72 pallets from Matsuura. I want tiny little detailed parts. I want an extremely precise machine. I want precision, I want repeatability. And you start adding all this up and you have GF Micron machines, you have Groves, and you have Kern. And those were kind of my 3, like Matsuura makes some stuff too in the price range, but they're kind of all similar price ranges when you kind of break it down, you know, within 10 or 20%. And then on a whim, my friend John Saunders was like, I'm going to Germany to tour Kern, you coming? And I was like, yeah, I'll be there. Like 2 days later.
There's a shout out for John Saunders as well. That's NYCCNC for those of you who want to look that up.
Yeah.
Great machine. How many hours did this run last week?
So we got about 140 hours of spindle time last week out of 168 hours in the week. I joke that it takes Sunday off just because we haven't yet loaded enough parts to keep it running that long. But we have our tool management down perfect. We can foresee into the future. We can make a schedule and be like, it's going to need these tools because it's not going to last. So if we had the pallets, I'm confident it could still be running on Monday, and that's my next goal.
Well, as I'm looking around, and that's a great goal, John, I noticed this Kern machine is actually sitting beside the brother machine, but what I noticed is the AeroX behind it is actually funneling to both of them.
Yes. You might not know this, but if you buy an AeroX big enough, you can feed 2 machines with it.
I love learning something new, which is why I'm here today with you.
The Kern came with an electric static air filter, but it wasn't quite meeting our air quality needs. And we got air quality meters, we're watching it and everything. So we talked to AeroX and they're like, you need the big boy. So we did. And then the idea of pairing the Speedio with the Aroa, with the Kern, lets us take a workpiece, put it into the Speedio for cheap 3-axis roughing, move it into the Kern automatically, seamlessly for advanced 5-axis finishing. That saves I think I can save at least 10 hours a day of useless roughing work on the Kern and do it on the Speedio. And then now we're just letting the Kern do what it does best.
You know, I had more questions on this tour. Conversation's over. I'm out. No, I'm just kidding. We can't do that to you. The tour is too good. As I look around, John, we have to keep going, right? There's so many exciting messages to convey here at this facility. Yeah. But since we're on AeroX and we're standing right beside a blow box, and as I look around, I see AeroX all over the walls here. Why AeroX? What have they done for you? Because I know air is important, and we have individual videos on the blow box and on AeroX itself for the audience that wants to tune into that. But why AeroX for you, just quickly before we head back to some of your other machines?
Yeah, I don't want to say I'm a fanboy, but I'm totally a fanboy of AeroX. I mean, the big things are they're a very local company. They're like 2 hours away from us. They're Canadian, go Canada. But really, they provide solutions that are absolutely killer. And we didn't partner with them. We bought our first mist collector for the DMG Mori in like 2016. Like you said, when they were a 3-person company, and we were a 3-4-person company as well. And what do you need when you buy the next one? You call them up. I got another machine. I need another mist collector. You got it. Here's the PO. But just keep buying. And then they keep coming up with amazing inventions like the blow box, which we help them with. And it's just fantastic. Like, we can load pallets. All the chips just go down and out, and it's so clean now. Like, imagine blowing off dirty parts on a bench. It's not going to stay clean. Cleanliness is everything.
I heard a thing one time, and I'm not sure what part of the audience is watching, but I heard a thing one time that said, cleanliness is next to godliness.
Absolutely.
And I've heard that before. You're definitely doing that here, whether it be the air, the floor. We could eat off the floor if we wanted to right now.
We keep these floors extremely clean.
So for people out there who are watching, maybe outside of our industry, they're going, oh, manufacturing, that's dull, that's dirty, that's dangerous. Look around here and look at this floor. This is gorgeous, and this is what a machine shop can be if you want to be.
It takes work.
It takes a lot of work.
And it takes a dedication, not just from me, but from everybody on staff to want to keep it nice, because we all like coming into work. It's a really nice place. We get to do good quality, hard work, and get to be proud of ourselves. Do something that matters, you know?
And it conveys that message to the audience as well, so thank you for that. I do appreciate it. Can we take a walk and learn about maybe some of the Wilhelmus, some Torno, some neck?
I could talk for hours. I could show you the tiniest little things I've 3D printed that have changed our lives. But let's
Should we just start a show in your facility and just stay here for about a week?
Well, that's what my YouTube channel is supposed to be, but I'm too busy to make videos now.
So what is your YouTube channel for those who have not seen it?
So John Grimsmo on YouTube. And I want to keep doing more videos.
Yeah.
Which is basically just me nerding out, showing cool stuff that we do. I'm a really good shower, not so much, I'm not an educator, I'm not like a teacher, whatever, but I can show you what I'm doing, and we're doing cool stuff all the time.
So for those of you out there, GRIMSMO, get him started again. He's got too much work. Well, thanks to you guys as well for the too much work.
Yeah, exactly.
But get him back on the videos again. He needs to be back on camera.
I love it. Okay, so this machine right here is a Wilhelmus 408 MT. It's a Swiss machine. It's kind of a mill, it's kind of a lathe, it's kind of a mill turn, it's kind of everything. It's got a 30,000 RPM spindle and a vise that comes up and grabs your work, and then you cut it off and the vise goes down, so you can make completely finished parts, 5-axis parts, and the whole head rotates down in B90. It can do some incredibly complex parts. These are usually used in the medical industry, some aerospace parts, but a lot of medical, like dental work like that. I bought this machine on eBay.
Did you?
And about 2 years ago, and it's needed some work. It's needed some love. I had to remove the entire spindle. I had to spend thousands and hours, tens of hours fixing it. But I think right now I'm at the point where it works.
Yeah? Do you know what industry it came from before you bought it?
Medical, I believe.
Medical industry. I mean, I've done a lot of interviews with the Williman, and it's almost, not always, but almost always in medical.
Because when they're new, they're very expensive. But they're very, very good at what they do. So you buy a used one that's 18 years old off eBay for cheaper, but it's still about the same price as what I spent for the Mori brand new.
Yeah.
And
well, nothing's cheap in this world, but maybe less expensive, right?
Exactly. So kind of going out on a whim, going out on a ledge. But the part we're making is for our pen, and this is made from round bar stock, and there's a lot of complicated features on there. This we're currently making on our Nakamura. We're actually making them right now. I want to use a high RPM spindle and a better work holding setup and just produce a higher quality part, let the Nakamura do stuff it's better at.
Is this currently, John, on the Nakamura, a one and done?
Yep.
Okay, but it will continue to be a one and done here. You just want to utilize both machines to their highest potential.
And it'll even be oneer and doneer.
How is that oneer and doneer?
Nicer surface finishes.
Okay.
So this has an actual milling spindle.
Right.
The Nakamura has the live tools.
And you said 30,000 on here. And what's the live tools?
6,000.
Okay, big difference.
And big difference with those live tools is they're gear driven. There's a belt in the back. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of bearings. There's a lot of slop. You don't get amazing surface finishes. Whereas with an actual milling spindle, you get really good surface finishes.
Right.
And I'm all about surface finishes.
And at the end of the day, this is going to be what, 7, 8 axis? This piece comes up here, this part spins here, and this one turns also.
Yep, and the vise moves in and out, and there's all kinds of control.
Yeah,
and
a 7, 8, I mean, that's
a lot going on.
That's a great buy, but you had to put a lot of effort into that as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Whew. So there's some other bits and pieces back here at the end of the shop that you've built from the floor up, taking concepts of router machines and laser cutters and everything that goes into that. But I'm just getting the audience hyped because just to our left is a beautiful Tornos machine. Would you like to talk about what you're manufacturing here?
Yeah, so our Tornos GT13 is a Swiss lathe. Canadian, it was near $300,000. So big investment in that. Also toured the Tornos factory like the day I placed the purchase order. And really amazing machine. When you have a lot of tiny parts to make really quickly, like you need this type of machine. So for our knives and our pens, since we manufacture every single component, every screw, every pivot, every button of the pen, the tube, the tip, everything, like this is one of our most challenging parts right here. It's called the threaded sleeve for our pen. And it's got 3 cross holes that have to be absolutely perfect in all axis, and they're deburred inside and outside. And the diameters and tapers have to be within a few tenths. The threads are 3B aerospace grade like tolerance, and everything about that has to be perfect, or else the pen's going to suck.
Back to precision again, and we do not make things that suck, that's for sure.
Exactly.
So 2 questions I have for you. One is, when I think of Swiss machining, I normally don't see them this size. This is a good size, although I also see quite small parts. So I want to know why you invested in one this size.
This goes up to 1/2-inch bar, which is like smaller than your thumb, like not very big. But everything we do, except for that clip, is 1/2 inch or less.
Within that envelope.
Exactly. So they make bigger Swisses, they make smaller Swisses, Citizen, Tsugami, Star, all kinds of brands. When you're buying a new machine, you're watching every video, you're reading every forum post, you're like, what do I buy? I don't know. You're talking to people that have them. Citizen was my big competition for this, and I'm super happy that I went with Tornos. They've been super reliable, super stable, support's been great, like good relationship with them. And in the end, I want to find machines that I can buy another one of. I will buy another Kern when I'm ready to. I will buy another Tornos when I'm ready to. Because I know how it works and it's all laid out and you just duplicate. That's the theory, right?
And we see that a lot, where you go into a machine shop and see a lot of the same brand because it's the familiarity, especially if you bring in young guys in that need to learn from machine to machine.
That said, every single machine in here is different.
It's different. So you're kind of messing with me a little bit, but I like it. I like it. So you will repeat at some point. The other thing I want to bring up is the Nakamura, and correct me if I'm wrong because you're the machinist and programmer, the Nakamura programs from left to right. So anytime I'm doing my X, Y, Z's, any of that kind of stuff, I'm going from one direction to the other, whereas on the Tornos, I'm actually going in two different directions and it communicates with each other.
Yeah, the Tornos is a two-channel machine, so there's actually two lines of code going at the same time because stuff can be machining on the main spindle and other stuff can be machining on the sub-spindle. So you make a screw with the threads, you transfer it to the sub, it's making the next screw on the left while milling the hex, the Torx pattern, on the right at the same time. So parts come off like almost twice as fast on this machine as the exact same parts we were making on the Nakamura.
That's incredible. Twice as fast.
Exactly.
Wow. So now we're at the Nakamura, obviously a very flexible machine. You know, they're known for their multitasking.
This was my second big boy machine.
Was it? So DMG Mori, then Nakamura.
So milling machine first, then we needed a lathe. When I got this, I was like, do I get a multitasking machine or do I get a Swiss? I don't know. In the end, I probably should have gotten a Swiss first, to be honest.
For what you make, it would make sense.
We make tiny little parts, and I bought this big monstrous machine that has 20 horsepower, and like, it can do fine precision work, but it doesn't master that. It's much better at slightly looser tolerances and bigger horsepower and more, you know, things like that. Whereas the Swiss is more in line with the parts that we make. But now we have both machines. This thing's making pen parts all day, every day. That's making other pen parts and knife parts all day, every day. And I think we have a really good blend of machinery right now.
I do too, and we're about to slide over to what I think is incredibly creative, but before we do, I would like to showcase your creativity, which we're about to show here, but also your precision of what you discussed. And I know we've said this several times, but I just want to, before we close this thing out and give a couple of shout outs to some of your other partner companies here, precision, we can't say it enough. It matters to you. When you talk about the cleanliness, to your core, that's the reason your knives and your pens are so well known around the world, is because we know that John's putting that quality into it. And not only just you, but every person I've met here today of your team, you've hired the right people who believe in that same concept. And it just amplifies exactly who you are at GRIMSMO.
Yep. Yeah, you said it yourself.
So we're done with that part.
Quality is everything. I mean, my kids are like 10 and 13. I'm teaching them quality. I'm teaching them precision and flatness and all this cool stuff. And they don't really care, but I'm still teaching them. Like, they're going to learn it.
But they got it from you through the DNA already.
Exactly.
So as we turn around here, I've actually programmed routers before in the woodworking world, and as I was receiving your tour, I understood the vacuum table, I understood how the woodworking works, but you're actually cutting foam, because back to your precision and high quality and thoroughness, let's say, your packaging is absolutely amazing on what you're making, right?
We're trying to create an entire solution for our products. So we make the product, we also make the packaging for it. So we've been cutting this foam since like 2016, 2017. We were using the DMG Mori to cut the foam, but that's a milling machine meant to cut metal. Why are you wasting your time cutting foam on it?
Plus, foam can't be great for that machine.
It's not. The cleanup's annoying. It clogs up the mist collector if you're not careful. But we did it anyway because that's all we had. I didn't want to buy a router. Most routers don't have tool changers. Like, there's all this, do you want to drop 40 grand on a router? Like, no, I'd rather buy a cool machine, you know? So then, once we got it off the Mori, we started running it on our Speedio because it was available. And then eventually I'm like, we either got to build or buy. And that's the big question, is make or buy all the time. Do we make it, do we buy it? I don't know. So we kind of went with a combination on this machine. We bought a kit from Avid CNC, put it together ourselves. We upgraded the motors, we upgraded some of the other stuff. We had this enclosure built for us, so now it's like a really nice package. It's got a dust collector built into it. And we go through so much foam that it was worth the, I don't know, 40 grand I put into building this. But it wasn't just an off-the-shelf solution. Like, I picked the vacuum pump, I made the vacuum table myself, I planned it all out so that it could be the exact solution that we need. And we've had it up and running for a few months now, and it's like running every day nonstop. Once we got all the little kinks worked out, it's solid.
Well, two things. One is, if you're gonna have the highest quality product, they need the highest quality packaging to go with it, and that is what you're doing, and that's what you've dedicated. And two, there's actually some lasers in here that'll blind us as well if we wanted to show that, couldn't we?
Yep, because you got to laser engrave, you know, some details, the name of the product, whatever. We were milling it before, but this particular new foam doesn't mill as well as our old foam does. We're like, oh, we got to figure out a laser. So do I buy a laser or do I add one to the router? I ended up adding one to the router, and it's pretty cool.
I like that. So as we close out this tour, and actually before we do that, audience, I'm not leaving you short. We got an awesome grinding machine over here as well because of precision, because of accuracy, because of John's thoroughness. It's so important to show you this Akamoto as well.
Yep.
And John, you're doing everything in-house. The majority of everything you do here, everything you do here is done in-house, right? We're talking, what, 99% or more of what you do is done here?
We don't do water jet, and we don't do a little bit of our rough grinding, but we do all the finish grinding, all the lapping. We take our raw blade steels, we surface grind them all here. Angelo's been the expert at this machine. We've had it 2 years now. We used to outsource this job, and the quality was always variable. The thickness was variable, which screws up every step down the line. The kern has different parts now. You know, our lapping machine isn't consistent. So we're like, how do we control, like what can we control? What should we invest in so that we can control what needs to happen? And now we can make not only great surface finishes, but perfect thickness consistently.
I mean, there's not a whole lot to say when it comes to how much it matters that you have the precision. And again, that reflects every day into the quality of the work that you're putting out, and everyone gets to receive it at their houses as well. You started we started with entrepreneurism and the courage it takes to do that. You are the embodiment of allowing other people to go, I can maybe do that as well. I can do that. So thank you for that. Now, as I'm walking around, I see a vacuum over here. I saw Blazer. I saw Qualichem. Maybe you want to give a shout out to your software. Anyone you'd like to talk to right now about, you know, thank you for your partnerships. Thank you for the work, whether it's cutting tools, coolants, even if we shout out, you know, the Misfit and AeroX again, because I know that's a good partnership, but something to close out, or even just a message to the audience going, thank you for watching. Thank you for purchasing our products. We'll continue to keep up the great work.
Absolutely, all of that. I mean, in the end, you want good suppliers that will have your back, that will trust you, that will provide a quality product all the time, whether it's your end mills or your machines or your service or your mist collectors or whatever. So it's either word of mouth or experience that gives you those things, and we've gotten a lot of both. I have a lot of friends in the industry, so I've got a really good line of suppliers for all the stuff we need to buy. Everything else we make ourselves, which is really good. But yeah, the point is, like, if you guys have this bug just like I do, if you're obsessed with it, if you can't sleep because of it, like, I don't know, I just went for it. And there's no turning back. But it's a lot of risk, and it's a lot of concern.
Well, Google usually gives us all the answers we need, but let's pretend that it doesn't, and somebody wants to reach out directly to you and buy one of your knives, one of your pens, learn more about your story and what you're doing, maybe even visit at some point. Where can they find you? Yeah, so our website is GRIMSMOKNIVES.com, and we're currently most active on Instagram. My Instagram's John Grimsmo Knives, and YouTube as well at John Grimsmo. So, I mean, check us out. We've put out a lot of cool content over the years, and I want to put out a lot more. And we're doing a lot of fun stuff. Well, with that being said, much like the movie Step Brothers, did we just become best friends? I'm giving this guy a hug. A lot of times it's a handshake, but John, thank you so much for the tour, my friend. Yeah, it was wonderful having you here, and I wish I could keep you for 2 more hours and show you every tiny little cool thing, but we got other stuff to do. And there will be a next time, I promise you. This guy's too good to let just this video be the only one. All right. Thanks, John. Thanks, man.